Oh, so we're standing for the motion to adjourn now.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our April 1st town board meeting. Mr. Town Clerk, pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, everyone, welcome. This is our regularly scheduled April 1st town board meeting. We have no privilege of the floor this evening. We do have a little bit of public comment. I'll do 3 minutes for all the speakers. When I call your name, please come to the microphone, share your address, and we'll give you 3 minutes to speak. We'll start with Eileen Ryan.
Testing. Eileen Ryan, I live at 293 Washington Avenue in Sawgrass. I first want to ask a question about, is insurance required of this company, the South Korean company, as part of this? Are they required to be insured?
Yeah, I don't know what's a regulatory thing, but yes.
Okay. That was just a side thing. I did a little.
So there's two components.
Go ahead.
I feel bad for consuming your time with this conversation, but I think what you're, I imagine there's two tracks to your question. One, certainly if something they did was deemed to be destructive or negligent, they would be subject to the civil courts for sure. And I assume they would have insurance to cover that. So far as the closure of the facility at the end, we haven't done a commissioning bond yet for this project. It's not mature enough to even have that conversation, but I think solar fields will provide the best example of what a decommissioning bond might look like, or roads that the developers are supposed to build. We ask them to bond or provide cash in the amount to finish the project or remove it after its useful life.
I guess my concern is if there's a catastrophic event.
Yeah, they won't survive with any protections, just like if another business or private entity costs damage.
The real point I wanted to bring up is when I've done some research, I see that.
Good.
Okay, this system is managed by remote, so it's on the internet, in the cloud, that sort of thing. That's my understanding.
There's a component of that that I
Okay,
understand.
so the concern with that then is cyber attacks. We just went into a war with Iran. Iran is great at cyber attacks. And from what I'm reading, there can be an interjection of malware in the code. We're getting it from a South Korean company. That's a concern. The malware can cause overheating and runaway fires. Probably the grid.
Doesn't do it there. Yeah. Try.
And it can further, then, since it's attached to the grid, cause instability in the grid. The other concern is ransomware. Again, we're dealing with foreign countries, we're dealing with Iran right now. Are we thinking about anything like that? Where they can basically take this thing over all along New York State, because there's a number of these. Okay?
Thank you. Elizabeth Fries?
My name is Elizabeth Reese. I live at 67 Elm Street in Socrates. Good evening, Supervisor and Town Board members. I have two concerns to address with the board this evening. First, the Town of Socrates is not fully compliant with New York State's open meeting law. Since 2021, Public Officers Law requires that any resolutions, proposed documents, or records scheduled to be discussed and voted on at an open meeting must be posted online to the extent practical, at least 24 hours before the meeting. This applies to any public body that maintains a website. Posting these materials in advance allows the public to review important items, prepare informed comments, and participate meaningfully in local government. Unfortunately, resolutions and key documents are often not posted with sufficient advance notice or are not posted at all, which limits transparency and public access. I respectfully request that this board adopts a clear policy and consistent practice in posting all agendas, resolutions, and supporting documents at least 24 hours prior to every meeting of this board or any other boards that should comply, including the planning board and others. A simple step would greatly improve openness and trust in the town government. My second concern is the serious deficiencies in the town's FOIL request form and appeal procedures. The FOIL request form for the town of Socrates is not fully compliant with New York State's Freedom of Information Law. It contains several inaccuracies, outdated provisions, and misleading statements that could confuse or disadvantage the public, such as incorrect appeal response time frame, which is the most serious legal error, vague, non-specific, and outdated denial checkboxes, and incomplete notice of rights. The town has no clear written FOIL appeal procedures posted on its website or anywhere else the public can easily find them. The limited information that does exist is directly conflicting the official FOIL request form states that appeals must be filed with the town attorney, yet the town clerk's webpage identifies Lisa Stanley as the FOIL's appeals officer. Compounding the problem, the town board itself has been reviewing and determining FOIL appeals. This practice directly contradicts Town Code Chapter 52 and the official FOIL form, which designates the town attorney and not the board as the proper appeals officer. I respectfully urge the board to immediately adopt and post clear, consistent FOIL and FOIL appeal procedures that comply with New York State law and town code. I also request that the town immediately retire the current FOIL form, adopt and post a new fully compliant FOIL form, and designate a single clearly identified FOIL appeals officer. Thank you for your attention to these concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric Delmar.
I just want to give a copy of my statement so they can be on the record. I do also have press packets for anybody who might want them. Thank you.
Hey folks, Eric Delmar, 39 Lafayette Street. Cell phones, we all have cell phones, and the one problem with them is that over time, the batteries lose their power, right? They get weaker and weaker. And these have lithium batteries, and the best system that I'm gonna talk about tonight also has lithium batteries. Same problems. So I was thinking about that. The lifespan of these batteries in BESS are said to be about 5 to 15 years. And it occurred to me that if the batteries lose their energy, that means that they have to be charged more often, right? I mean, just logically, if they're gonna continue having the same output, you gotta charge them more if they don't hold as much. So what are the consequences of that? It's interesting. Lithium batteries and lithium BESS systems become noisier with age, primarily due to increased cooling demands on the batteries, having to cool those batteries as they charge them. You've seen batteries or you've felt batteries get hot. Same with these big ones. As batteries age, they develop higher internal resistance, producing more heat and forcing cooling fans and HVAC systems to work harder. So these systems are trying to keep these batteries in a safe environment that is most efficient for them to do their job, to gather in energy, hold on to it, and release it when it's needed. So all these ancillary systems have to work. The HVAC systems and the inverters that convert from DC to AC, all these systems are at work trying to leverage the batteries for outputting the energy. But over time, remember, the batteries get weaker and weaker, and they resist getting charged again. So the systems run more. So what are the consequences of that? There's two kinds of noise that come from these things: operational and mechanical noise. Operational noise originates from the electronics used in the systems, including inverters and cooling systems. The mechanical noise, on the other hand, is typically produced by components such as compressors, pumps, and fans. Think if someone has a central AC system in their house. That's like a mechanical noise. You always see here it's cycling on and off, And that AC hum, which is about 120 hertz, I think, just kind of goes through your soul when you hear it. And it's not terrible if you have just one output, but if you have thousands of them, it's bad. So we know that there's two different sources of the noise, and it gets worse with time. And what happens with the mechanical stuff, all these fans that are spinning, that are doing the cooling of the pumps, that are circulating the Freon or whatever refrigerant is used, they'll start diminish their own functioning capability over time, and they get noisier, just like a car gets noisier, just like a blender gets noisier when bearings start wearing out. Are these guys gonna guarantee that the system will be as noisy on day 5,000 as day one? No, the system is just gonna get noisier and noisier, and they'll keep it until which time as it's not worth it to them. It's totally exhausting, they're not making money off of it anymore. And that's, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you.
Just remember, the devil's in the details. That's all I'm gonna say.
The event,
Sorry.
Should be.
Good evening. Am I good? Yeah. My topic tonight is process, transparency, and consistency as they relate to the proposed BES. Over the past month, BES-related discussions have moved across multiple forums within the town. Initially, these topics were discussed within the CPC. Last week, we were told that BES is no longer being addressed there, but is being considered by a separate working group. To date, there's no publicly available information about that group, its membership, scope, or discussions. Additionally, the role of the CAC appears to differ from the traditional function. For projects such as Winston Farm, CAC input has focused on detailed site-specific environmental analysis, including wetlands, habitat, land disturbance, and stormwater impacts, consistent with its role as a technical advisory body evaluating localized environmental conditions. In contrast, CAC discussions regarding the BES project appear to have centered on general descriptions of technology, references to external policy frameworks, addressing or contextualizing concerns in a way that risks minimizing, negating, or avoiding detailed consideration of localized environmental impacts. Because the CAC has historically been more neutral, site-specific, and impact-focused, this raises questions as to whether the same level of objective, localized environmental review is being applied. Taken together, these different approaches raise broader questions about how environmental review is being conducted. Under seeker, the town is required to take a hard look at potential impacts in an objective and consistent manner. And it is essential to ensure that discussion of public business is conducted in compliance with the open meetings law, as Liz mentioned, including appropriate notice and transparency. Accordingly, I respectfully ask the board to address the following. Who are the members of the BES working group and what is its structure? Where are its meetings? Where are its minutes and any related materials being documented and made available to the public? How will the town be addressing concerns that policy development, including potential zoning changes, is occurring? And lastly, when will the town commit to making this information publicly accessible? Your responses are requested this evening or in public, in writing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lauren Pagrano?
Sorry about that. Leaving things up. Good evening, thank you so much. My name is Lauren Paperno. I live on West Socrates Road, new member of the community. As I understand it, the best is looking, this key New York submission packet doesn't really indicate how many units or batteries are being installed. Do I have that correct, that it's not mentioned?
My understanding is that it is about 100 megawatts.
No, how many batteries? How many actually
I don't know
containers?
the math that would equate to that.
How many?
126.
126,
Thank you.
okay.
Based on a placeholder technology.
Right. So 126 on a 60 acres, is that correct? That's what this property is being considered for this development? My question really is, 60 acres is equivalent to maybe 10 football fields? So where I'm going, this was already raised about the sound. In order to generate a battery to function, it has to use energy, which is a compressor and an HVAC and other devices in which to make it produce a storage capacity. Did I get that right?
I'm trying not to consume any of your time because it's running.
I'm just basically asking that in order for the battery storage, they have to use electricity in order to store it. And in order to create this storage capacity, they have to use devices like HVACs and generators. Do you know what the noise level is of one generator? One HVAC? Now imagine we have 124. I don't know if all 124 are gonna wind up with their own individual capacitors to keep them running. But let me just give you an example. Apparently, on page 174 of the packet, they indicate that for a standard 8-hour work shift, the maximum is 85 decibels. 12-hour work shift is 82 decibels. Now, just to give you an example of what is constantly running, right, 24/7, these 84 decibels, 85, a diesel truck. That's what a diesel truck uses, 84 decibels. Try a pneumatic drill is 91 decibels. So basically, I'm asking the board, are you aware of the sound?
You consume your time.
Yeah, no, but do you realize the amount of sound that's gonna be generated 24/7?
Thank you.
That's my question, and I'd love to hear if there's any evidence anywhere where that might be known.
All right, that concludes the list of speakers who signed up this evening. Was there someone who wanted to address the board that did not? Tim? Thank you.
Good evening. I just wanted to express strong support for Robert Langdon's appointment to the Socrates Arts Commission. As you know, he had previously served there. I've known him for a few years.